Hi, Yuki. All right, I'm going to do your past life reading and healing now. So, I'm going to focus on providing some answers, insight into a very difficult separation that you've gone through, also a child involved, and how this has really affected your life. And you've really been challenged with this. It's been very hard for you. So, I'm just going to relax and I'm going to see what Spirit has to share, okay? All right. It's quite a peaceful moment here. I'm looking at a bush that has very small purple flowers. They're a light purple color. They're not light, like a really light color. They're sort of a mid-range purple. They're showing me purple turning into a blue color. They're not necessarily blossomed, but I don't know that these are kind of curled. The flower piece is kind of curled, so I don't know that it exactly blossoms. It's just sort of closed in that way. And they're really small flowers, and it's just a bush full of these flowers. They're purple turning into blue. There is a pick of a flower. They're smelling it. There is putting flower in pocket even, walking away from bush. I'm hearing footsteps down a sidewalk. There is the sound of cars, and I'm actually waving my hand to flag down a taxi. I want to go somewhere. I'm ready to go somewhere. I'm in a hurry too, but I'm not necessarily in a hurry like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 10 minutes late for work. It's more like I have a passion, I have a desire, and I really want to get to where I'm going right now. I really want to attain or reach what it is that my heart's passion is inspiring in me, and I need to get this taxi right away. I need this right now. They asked me if I know where you're going. I say, you're going to visit your son. They're saying, yes, that is correct. There's a lot of traffic in the way of you attaining the goal, they say. How do you get through a lot of traffic when you're in a taxi? The taxis stop behind loads and loads of cars trying to get to a place. And so you're just forced to move at the speed of everybody else. How does that make you feel? To feel like you're forced into a position where you cannot alter the flow or speed of the traffic. You're forced to follow everybody that is ahead of you. You're forced to move at their speed, not your speed, not the speed of your heart. They say, how can you alter the image? And I say, well, I'm going to have him get out of this taxi and just start running. I mean, at least these cars are at a standstill. If you're running, you could go faster than all the other cars. So we're just going to take a pause, and I'm having you get out, and you're running. I mean, it's like a swarm of cars, and it's a total traffic jam, and nobody's going anywhere anytime soon. And if you were running for 4 straight hours, you could go miles in comparison to these cars. These cars could be stuck for 4 hours, whereas you're in motion. But they're saying, but that's not the way this works. Is it? Is that the way this works? Are you able to get out of your car and run to the destination? So, everything is slowing down. I'm sitting on a park bench. I'm looking at the flower that's in my pocket, and I'm twirling it around. The flower is representative of a dream or a goal. And as I look into it, I see the flowers opened up to me. I'm looking into the flower, and I know there's hope. I know there is truth. I know there's something real to this. They say, well, what is it? What is real? What do you know about this flower? I know that it's beautiful. I know that it is alive, and I know that it is open, and it is sharing itself with me. It's not closed as it was on the bush. It is actually opened up. The dream has opened up to you then. And I say, that is what this means to me. So what does it mean to you? That's what they're saying. I am watching you examining every petal of the flower and looking deeply into it. I'm waiting for the next inspiration. There is a turn of the pace, and something is overcoming me, and I'm putting the flower down, and I just feel like smashing it and then rubbing my hand into it and just disintegrating it entirely. I feel betrayed. I feel lied to. I feel like this was the biggest blasphemous, most rude, most disturbing, most disgusting thing that could have fallen into my lap. One thing that started as this beautiful dream, now it is on this picnic table, and this is how I feel about it, because this is the way the dream made me feel. The dream made me feel like this. They're saying this is appropriate reaction. This is an honest reaction to what has taken place here. You should feel angry. You should feel outraged. You should feel wronged. And like there's just nothing about this was right. Because in your pure and loving heart, everything just got buried and buried and buried underneath a pile of doo-doo. And you're the one inside of it, and it just wasn't right. So I'm waiting here for the next scene. They keep showing me a scene that is far off into the distance, and it's like soldiers waiting to go into war. It's as if they've been waiting for a very long time. They have a nose piece on their helmets. They have some chain link to their attire. They have some flags. They're showing me a war of this sort of Caucasian northerly sort of locale, but they're also showing me a war or battle from an Asian location. The battlefield of these white people, they're just like humdy-dumdy-dum, waiting, nothing happening. But these Asian warriors are they're ferocious, they're ready to go, they're armed and ready for battle, and they're on the run and ready to strike. And it feels like they're completely different sides of the world, right? Two different wars happening at the same time, different places on the planet. Different motivations as well. This is the focus. They show the flower is in the center of the two scenes. One scene, just a bunch of guys waiting around in battle attire, doing nothing. The other scene, all these Asian warriors, ferocious, and they're ready for action. So we have these two scenes, flowers in the center of a line that is one page, and here's the other page, flowers in the center. They're showing me flower is going in the hair, sort of behind the ear, like right like that. I have a pen and paper. I'm a female now. It's as if I'm drawing or doing some very special letters. I have an Asian appearance. I have a very beautiful face. I don't know. There's something like... She kind of reminds me of Pocahontas, but Asian. There's something about her face that she's absolutely adorable. Her skin, though, is really pale. I don't even know why I'm thinking Pocahontas, because she really doesn't look like Pocahontas at all, but yet that came to mind when I first looked at her. I was like, wow, kind of reminds me of Pocahontas. She's adorable. She's very beautiful skin, very beautiful face, very beautiful straight hair. It's something about calligraphy or something about the way that she is artistically doing lettering of some kind. And there's something very focused about her, or studied or well learned about her. She's quiet as well. She seems contained or posed. Just her personality or stature is feminine, is composed. She's not trying to be loud or boisterous or, hey, look at me. She's like mannered. She's extremely well mannered, and it has to do with her holding her composition, remaining quiet, only called upon when asked kind of thing, is the way it feels. That she's so happy. It's like her appearance is ornate. It's like as ornate as some of the most ornate type of gardens. She's just so naturally beautiful. Something feels broken in her heart. They're showing me too much white on her face. They're showing me something about lip color. Something, like even some cheek color. Something just seems painted about her face now. She is no longer doing the calligraphy work. She looked way more relaxed, but was not. I mean, her posture was impressive. Her manners were so amazing. Her style about her just energy was so well groomed. And this version of her seems sad. It seems like she's not following her purpose. Something has happened which got in the way of the development of this pure experience, and now it is shifted into something she feels she's not. She has hands that she cups inside of two sort of longer pieces, some sort of robe piece like that. So you can't actually see her hands. They're just in this. And this sort of arm piece comes down, hangs down like that. I mean, she's dressed in some sort of attire that's traditional. She's bowing before somebody. It seems like she is taking orders of some kind, but she's doing it dutifully, but it does not fulfill her heart at all. She won't share with me. She is so reserved in her sort of the way she's been constructed as a human being. Her psychology, her emotions, and everything is so poised and contained. She won't even tell me what her role is that is not fulfilling her heart. She won't even let anybody know. She just lets people see that she is here to serve, and in service then she accepts and then is happy even if she's not happy. But she doesn't even really smile. She's just an agreement. And that's all. I still don't know what her role is. She's not telling me. There's some man here, and he too has very nice posture. I don't understand his... I'm examining his style. I'm examining his role. He's definitely asking her to do something for him. And he's a serious man. I don't feel a lot of joy in his heart either. It's almost robotic. Like he is asking her to do something for him, and she is obeying because that is her role now. And he too is not enjoy with this experience either, but he seems to be groomed to be serious and not laugh or not joke or not feel relaxed either. So they're just going through their roles, and neither of them is exactly happy. Although they are pretending to just be an acceptance of this sort of traditional way of being. It's strange. Just because they're not allowed to be their soul or their smile or their joy or their happiness from deep in their heart. And neither will acknowledge it either. Neither will acknowledge their true feelings inside. He doesn't want to be this role either, but yet he doesn't have a clue what else. He doesn't know of anything else. This is all he understands as propriety or appropriateness. This is all that would ever make sense to him, even if he's unfulfilled. So, that is all for right now with this. Let's see what else they share. They're showing me a rose. It's on also a bush. It's very perfect in the way the petals are, and they're showing me it just slowly opening its blossom up. And then smelling it from on the bush, not actually taking it. Thing is, this rose isn't on your average rose bush. It's more like on a really perfectly trimmed shrub, like, I don't know, landscaping sort of shrub. It's not your average rose bush, it doesn't look like your average rose bush. It's too perfect. It's like a squared off bush, green bush, and it's growing from it. And it's growing differently than the bush. So what is like a rose sort of growing, it has thorns and sort of grows on a long stem, right? This bush is sort of like, it has needles for leaves, and it's just different looking. It's perfectly squared off. It's growing from it. Two different versions of a bush trying to blend together in oneness. They aren't the same version of bush. They don't even share the same dynamics. A rose is not a pine needle type of bush. Even though the pine needles, they're like needles, right? And then roses have thorns. They're still not the same. But yet they're trying to blend themselves together. I want to feel happier about this scene than I actually do. The only thing that I find beautiful is the rose, and I don't like that the rose is trying to grow into this bush. There's something really inappropriate about its distinctive nature should be separate or not in accordance with the bush. They should show themselves as two different reflections of beauty. I don't know why, but I feel so angry right now. I'm taking the scissors, I'm cutting this rose piece off. How dare you merge with this bush? It's a blasphemous thing. It is inappropriate. It is not good enough. I mean, the anger, the frustration, it's sort of like a parent talking to a child who, I mean, they're absurd. They're just, it's like an insolent child. A child disobeyed me. And it's just, a child is a child. You know what I mean? Just things happen. But the seriousness is like so rigid, so severe. I mean, it's like taking a ruler and smacking the wrist so hard that you want it to bleed in order to make sure they know better. And it's kind of like a parent speaking to a child in a very rigid, very angering. It just, the rigidness of it is overwhelming me. My spirit guides are asking me, so how do you propose that the rose then would be removed from this bush properly? If it was not cut off, how would you have separated them? They're wanting me to analyze this. So I'm looking at the bush and the rose connection. I'm looking at the thorns on the rose, and I know I have to touch it delicately. Otherwise, it will hurt me. I want to fix this. I want to make this better, but I just don't know how. They say you make it better by separating the rose from the bush. And I say the rose doesn't belong with this bush. It never did belong with the bush. So you acknowledge that it's two different versions of creation, and they aren't meant to be blended. They never were meant to be blended. They gave it a shot. It didn't work out. We need to separate them. This is part of the wisdom. There's more to it than this. I'm still working on trying to pull the rose through the bush. I don't even see another bush that it's for it to even have grown through the bush in the first place. It's like the bush grew it for some weird reason. I'm asking for some other wisdom or something else. They're showing me the roots of the bush. They're wanting me to pull the bush out of the ground. So I'm pulling this bush out of the ground. They're saying take the bush and throw it aside. Now all you see is the rose. That is how you remove the rose from the bush. You remove the bush. It's like, that seemed really severe to me. But I guess the bush wasn't... We didn't need it? See here what they say next. The rose feels empty and lonely without the bush there. It feels sad. It feels like it doesn't know its place or its the next step in its life. It feels like it's confused about what it is to do if the bush is not here. They're saying you learn how to grow new. It's okay that the bush is not here. It is okay. We removed the bush, so now that that is removed, now it is just you. You to show who and what you are. You to shine. Don't you see how beautiful you are? You're a rose. Isn't that the most beautiful thing we could possibly look at, is the rose? We remove the bush so we can see you. We can see how beautiful you are. We can allow your beauty to shine so everybody can acknowledge how beautiful you are. They're saying this is about you giving yourself more credit, you giving yourself the sort of that positive voice that you really are this beautiful and this worthy and deserving of recognition that is approving of you. You're extraordinary and beautiful. Let's see what else. They're saying we will not grow the bush back, and we are not going to give you any means in order to attain that experience again, because it is time for you to grow in this way and show your beauty and your design and impact us with who and what you are. You are what we want to see. That's what they're saying. Again, I'm just seeing all these holes in the sort of where the roots were pulled out. The bush was just thrown to the side, and now all I see is you. You are the only stem of rose here to be seen. And now I feel honored to know that I have the opportunity to take you and then trim and now have you. And now I can place you in a vase and then gaze upon you at my window. There's something beautiful about this. I'm not trying to get rid of you, get out of the bush. No, we removed the bush, and now we see the beauty, which was you all along. And now when we trim you from this bush, you're the one and only rose. Now we can adore you. And there's something very pleasant and beautiful about the way this feels. It's a little surprising, but it's absolutely moving to me. You need to know how important you are, and you need to know this. It's not a selfish thing. It's not you need to know that you need to be recognized for being a very good human being, being a very beautiful human being. You need to be recognized as special. You need to be just recognized as worthy of being placed into a vase and adored every day at somebody's windowsill. You need that message very badly. They're asking you to take the flower that was smashed into this sort of picnic table. We're bringing it back to life and we're handing it to you. We want you to explore again what your dreams are and explore it from a new vantage point where you feel loved inside and outside, and for being an extremely brave and honorable man. That's what they're saying. You are loved. You're loved more than you can imagine, is what they're saying. If that is the most important message I could, this is the most important message I could share for you. And so we're revisiting the scene. You have the flower that is open to you, and you're given a new chance to examine your dreams and what is in your heart. They're saying you're doing everything right in your life. Despite all the ways that you have felt burned by this experience, they're saying you're doing an amazing job and it's an appropriate experience for your soul. And the medicine that we give to you is you need to know how wonderful you are, how loved you are, how adored you are. And that is the medicine, that is the strength that keeps you persevering for your dream, for your goal. And right now your goal is to be able to move, and so you can be close to your son, close to who you love with all your heart. So Now they're showing you stooping down and you're handing this flower to your son. Son now takes the flower, looks into it, and now sees his own dreams. And his dreams have to do with you too. So when he looks into the flower, he sees you. When you look into the flower, you see him. And so now you're sharing a very divine, very beautiful and special bond with one another. This is important. We're showing you both looking into each other's eyes. You're inspired to take a leaf as sort of a petal off, like a he loves me not kind of thing. But it's more like how many days until I can see you again, or something having to do with a very loving interaction between you both, and it has to do with you seeing each other again. Has to do with all the days that you have with each other, even. Has to do with there are infinite numbers of petals. You can keep pulling them off, and it's whatever you want it to be. Something about dreams, though, coming true and interacting, you and your son eye to eye, and sharing love with each other that is manifested in this flower that speaks to you both. And it has to do with time, though, too, but it has to do with love as well. And it more so is about love than time, but there's something about that as well. They're showing me sometimes he holds the flower and there is no father there looking back at him. So he now is just looking at the flower, and that is all he has to hold on to. Again, they're saying you are a very amazing man and you're doing everything right, okay? They show me a tear that goes down the boy's cheek. He is looking at an empty street. He is waiting for his father to arrive as he holds the flower. I'm just watching and I'm waiting. He too is watching and he is waiting. I'm literally sitting on a step. I am watching and I am waiting. And nobody is coming. I am still waiting. I am still holding the flower, which is the dream. And I'm still a young boy, and I still hold the same dream in my hand. And I'm still waiting, patiently. But it's not so much patient, they don't understand patience, they just wait. But it is a positive or hopeful experience. But yet there is some sadness associated with it as well. Some question mark as to where are you? And then where are you in my life? It is so silent. They're not letting me move the scene, that this is what I am to focus on. There is some... There's different smells and sounds that I hear from inside a home. Sometimes I smell something cooking. Sometimes I smell flowers even. Sometimes there's feelings of discomfort. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes maybe not. But I'm still on the stoop and I'm still waiting for somebody to come. There is a man. He's come, picking up his son, going up the stairs. And I expect him to go inside, but he's not yet. They're just hugging and having an exchange of love here before the door. The door is white. He does not feel like going inside. He feels like spending time with his son here, even if it's just on this step. This is their interacting that's very loving, and it's also, there's an energy vibration I'm experiencing from it. It's good, it's positive, but it's got kind of a heaviness to it that I feel. I'm waiting for other instructions. I've been looking at all the other scenes that we've seen and interacted with. The girl that does the calligraphy and the other role that she played, and then this war scenes. And nothing is, they're just indicating this is where we will remain for the time being. So, is sharing love between your souls and between your hearts. Love that touches each other's lives in ways that creates love and joy, as opposed to these other scenes where they weren't real versions of true love. They're versions of chaos. I mean, these Asian warriors are there to destroy. Whatever they can touch, they will kill. These sort of northerly sort of warriors, medieval European style warriors, whatever, they're waiting for battle, but they aren't going anywhere. I'm not even sure. It's like they're just waiting and waiting around, and there's lots and lots and lots of them, and they're even yawning. They're just even falling asleep as they're sort of rested against their sort of big swords, and they're just kind of like they're falling asleep, waiting for time, waiting for action, waiting for something to happen, right? And then we have this scene with this female that just was not true love. That wasn't even a version of being able to express yourself naturally. It was just some sort of mechanical. The emotions were mechanical. They weren't real. It just, something is very disturbing about that. Every time I explore it, it just feels disturbing to me. They're showing me something else, and that disturbing feeling is really hurting me deep in my heart. It's hard roles or hard realities. That is what this is. It's amazingly quiet. They're showing me the girl that does the calligraphy, also so quiet as well. But in her quietness, she was happy. She found contentment in that experience of being quiet. This quiet that I'm feeling is like, I just want something to happen. I just want something to make sense. I want my life to be in motion and in progress. It's like going back in the taxi and we're just sitting and waiting for something to happen. The boy who's on the steps sitting and waiting for something to happen. Those soldiers, those warriors just sitting, waiting for something to happen. You create action, and then action then creates movement. You make a choice and then you move. You go after it. They're not sharing much more. I'm asking them if there's anything else. They aren't indicating anything associated with past lives, so to speak. They need you to know this wisdom and information in order to help you as much as they can right now in your life. So I'm waiting for anything else. They just won't budge. They need you to see all of these symbolic reflections, all of these storylines, all of this message is what we fold up and then give you. This is for you. It's what they say. This is what you need right now. This is what your heart needs right now. This is what your mind needs right now. This is what you need right now in order to know it's something about your balance, about your heart, about what your needs are. This is it. All right, so that's what they're sharing with me. So I just want to thank you for this experience. I'll be curious to know what it means to you. And for those of you watching, if you're interested in experiencing psychic wisdom or spiritual healing with me, please visit my website at abbynormalswisdomquest.com. Thank you for watching.